and kick off the review with the Daily Nation. Let me carry these. I think we can move these closer, yeah? Okay, starting with the Daily Nation. All right, their front page has to do with the hot topic of the day, and that is the nomination of CASs. The statement I read yesterday indicated that they would have to go through a parliamentary approval process, but this is the headline. Loyalists top Ruto's bloated CAS lineup. Cabinet secretaries, CASs and principal secretaries to earn 13 billion shillings in 5 years. How does that add up? We'll take a look at the math in a moment. The full story on pages 4 and 5, and some of those who've been nominated have been highlighted on the front page of the Daily Nation. I see here Dennis Itumbi, Information, Communication and Digital Economy. Former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero, nominated for Investment, Trade and Industry. Wilson Sosion, Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Margaret Wanjiru, Cooperatives and MSME Development. Samuel Tunai, that is the former Narok Governor. Interior and National Administration. Millicent Omanga, Interior and National Administration. Charles Njagwa, Youth Affairs, Arts and Sports. Nicholas Gumbo, Roads and Transport. Benjamin Washiali, Roads and Transport. Kate Warugoro, Foreign, although I see we misspelled foreign here, Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. Chris Wamalwa, Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. He lost out Trans Nzoia Governor. Khatib Mwashetani, Ministry of Health. Wesley Korir, Youth Affairs, Arts and Sports. What austerity? The Daily Nation asks. President William Ruto added another burden to the taxpayers by increasing the number of nominees for the position of Chief Administrative Secretary from 23 to 50, creating the largest executive in recent history. The list comprises mainly politicians who lost in the general election last year. Okay, so I will kick off our conversation with that. Let's take a look at, so I'm just going to look at the headlines first that address the CAS nominations. Second up is Taifa Leo. Taifa Leo has an image of President William Ruto akitafuna inakaa kama ni nyama choma, and the headline is this: marafiki wala nyama. Rais abebesha wa Kenya mzigo zaidi kwa kuteua washirika wake miongoni mwa manaibu wa mawaziri. This is 48, I counted 50. My panelists will tell me if they counted the same number. Serikali ya Rais Ruto itatumia zaidi ya bilioni 4 kulipa mishahara ya wandani alioteua kama mawaziri wasaidizi CASs jana, kulingana na makadirio ya Taifa Leo. Earlier gentleman reconnaissance ilinikanganya, now it is makadirio, and again they have a list, faces on the front page here. Isaac Maura is the one I didn't see on the front page of the Daily Nation. Otherwise, the rest I saw. Who else didn't I see? Vincent, who is this? Vincent Kemosi. Let me just open this in full. There we go. Vincent Kemosi. Who else is here? We already saw, I believe we saw all the rest. Kate Waruguru, Wesley Korir, etc. So just 2 new faces that have been highlighted on the front page of the Taifa Leo. And then there's that image there of President William Ruto. They really must have searched for an image such as this, Omulo. All right, let's quickly take a look at the Standard, and then I'll invite you guys to comment. The Standard, the front page. Let us see. Did Uhuru team pay 6 billion shillings? Oh no, this is different. So all right, so looking at the top story, Daily Nation top story, Taifa Leo. Faith, sorry to interrupt your work. Faith is just powdering. She was powdering Joseph. She's a makeup artist. Sorry for the disruption, Joseph. But let me start with Omulo. Omulo Jr., Director Political Affairs, ANC. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, tukimeza mate nyinyi mnatafuna nyama?
Actually, I've seen it's a very funny picture there, but maybe it's because you know, they say government is shareholding, so those who worked hard are actually rewarded. But first and foremost, permit me to say that we want to thank God for the rains. We've been praying hard, and He has extended the hand of mercy, and He has opened the skies for us. So I believe we are going to increase production, just as we promised Kenyans. Secondly, if you ask me, I don't know the wisdom behind the appointment of 50 CASs from the initial 29, because this is against the reflection or aspiration of young generation who are supposed to come up and lead, because those who are rewarded are just political rejects and retirees. And I think as much as I support Kenya Kwanza, but I don't believe it is the right thing to do. It is going to cost us a lot of money annually, from almost 460 million. And you know, these people have to benefit from the car grants and even mortgages. So it is a misplaced priority. I don't know who advised the president to increase the number. Maybe they are going to fast track or facilitate the smooth running of government, but I don't know how it is going to add value to the common mwananchi. So the fact that we have retirees and political reject, as a young person, I reject, and I request Parliament to look this keenly, because there is a lot of public outcry, and people are asking them to appoint one person per ministry. We don't see the need of having 3 CSs in one ministry. What for? So Parliament should take the initiative, and because they are independent institution, they need to also to direct the president, as much as they have been given the list, to elect or appoint only one person per ministry. That is what I can say for now.
All right, Omulo, I am Shuketh. This is my Shuketh face. I didn't expect you to be quite so blunt on the subject. Dennis Mbanda, political analyst, pleasantly surprised this morning that you and Omulo, you're on the same side, I would imagine, on this one. Or are you going to surprise me as well?
I'm clearly surprised, just like my brother Omulo. To start, we want to thank the good Lord for remembering us yesterday with rains, but also in the equal measure by, you know, it is actually very shocking that on 11th of October last year, the public service, rather the head of public service, Francis Kinyua, announced a vacancy of 23 positions. And then only to...
Joseph?
Yeah, Joseph Kinyua, sorry. Only for this administration to appoint 50 cabinet administrative secretaries. You know, this is very shocking at a time, especially when the government is talking about austerity measures. I don't know what to do. It's actually very funny that this is coming at a time when Raila Amolo Odinga is asking for mass action against this administration. So in the backdrop of that, the government, the administration of William Ruto appointing 50 cabinet administrative secretaries is actually very shocking, given that we already have a bloated government already in place. Having at least three members, 3 CS in different ministries, this is going to be duplication of roles. We already have over 51 PSS. So I think this is the right time for the country to wake up, and you know, revolution is actually just by Monday. Yeah. So you know, it is, I don't know what to say. This is just very shocking, especially now that, you know, we have over 50,000 unemployed teachers. People cannot afford basic food on the table, and the government promised to cut down about 300 billion from the budget, but now this is going to cost taxpayers about 460 million annually. You know, this government should just pack and go home, because what we are witnessing is incompetency. They're clueless. They have no idea what to do with the government. It actually, what is even more shocking is that these people, most of them are former governors, and then also former members of parliament, meaning these are politicians. And if you look at the current constitution, the way it is constituted, that we are not supposed to have politicians as forming cabinet, being cabinet members, because what we have is a presidential system of government. And because of the 2010 constitution, the presidential system of government did not envision in the constitution to see members of cabinet, secretary members, being politicians, because by extension these are politicians and they're going to form members of their cabinet members.
Okay.
What is even more shocking is that I think we should amend Article 152 of the Constitution, Section 3, to allow politicians to be members of cabinet. If anything, we should just. So
you said which section?
152
of the Constitution.
Yes.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes, article. I'm sorry. Constitution is article. Continue.
Yes.
Proceed.
Article 152, Section 3. So that we therefore have members of parliament being cabinet secretaries, because the presidential system of government, we are supposed to have people who are going to do meaningful job. Number two, look at these people. Most of them are failed politicians. Kidero is a failed politician. Most of them are actually failed politicians. We cannot have former governors coming to take positions that even, if anything, are supposed to be even for youth. Lastly, also to add on this, look at the number of women also. We have about 14 or 13 women here in this list out of 50. So I think we need to sue the government or anything. Let them just pack and go home. They are clueless.
Okay, I think on some things you and Omulo will agree. On others, I'm seeing you have divergent positions, but I will give you a right of reply, Omulo, shortly. All right, Kidi Mwaga, this is what the Law Society, yes, Kidi Article Constitution, the other legislation is section. All right, speaking of legal terminology, Law Society of Kenya President Eric Theuri tweeted this yesterday. The PSC created, that is a Public Service Commission, Public Service Commission, created 23 CAS positions. This is on oath in an affidavit in court. The president has created an extra illegal 27 positions. This invalidates the entire list. As a legal expert,
Thank you.
Do you agree with him? Do you disagree?
First and foremost, it's good to see you on NTV once again, and to join the people of Kenya this morning in having this conversation. First and foremost, further and significantly, I want to send congratulations to those who have caught the president's eye, so much so that the president considered having them as helping him run government. In the same vein and breath, I think we must appreciate that when the president is making appointments, there are various considerations that he has to grapple with. One, of course, is competence. The other one is ability to deliver political constituency. 3 is ability to be able to help in the smooth running of government, among other considerations. And the other one is gender, of course. The LSK is speaking to the invalidity of that list on account of how large it is. I think those legal headwinds may be sorted out. The president will figure out, the president and the team from State House will figure out how to handle it. But I don't think that we should come here and claim that having a large, I have previously said that I am in favor of a lean and efficient government.
Yes.
But a lean and efficient government, the leanness or the largeness of government depends also with existing political realities. Because we can spend 426 million in having CSS, and in so doing, there are sections of the country that were previously not in government that they now feel represented in government. While you'll be running a leaner government, but a government that is rife with corruption. For instance, now that my brother is speaking to them running, what is it called, mass action or revolution?
It's a mass action.
Okay, yes, he chooses to call it mass action. But remember that his immediate boss was a co-principal in government. And that government, we are told, was rife with corruption. For instance, there is the Telecom Kenya deal that was costing 4 billion, or is it 6 billion? But that money still has not hit the government coffers. So when you can, on one hand, run a government that is corrupt and taking money from the pockets of people of Kenya, and then in the same breath say that a government should not make appointments that ordinary leaders should make, then it is speaking from both sides of the mouth. It is my considered view that on the question of the size of the list, that is something that the president can look into. That is something that, of course, can be litigated, because I guess Senior Theory may want to move to court. But then I don't think that we should castigate that list just because it does not suit our political persuasions. Okay. And when I say political persuasions, I know political persuasions on this table that may have not been met. That, I think, does not invalidate that list. Thank you.
You know, Dennis wants a right of reply, but I also owe Mulo a right of reply. So Dennis, shikilia tu hapo, ndo nipate maoni ya Joseph. And you mentioned that 6 billion, was it?
Yes, the telecom.
Yes,
deal.
And I see that informs, you know, I got distracted here by the cost of Unga.
Yes.
So let me just take that off. I'll look at it later. And take a look at the front page of the Standard. It actually informs which Standard did I open over here on my touch screen. The one I have the hard copy. This is this today's? No, this is from Wednesday when they talked about that 6 billion. Did Uhuru team pay 6 billion shillings for air in telecom?
There is a lot of hairs, and hairs which some are hot, others are cold in our former coalition.
All right, but actually the top story today, and I was remiss in not mentioning this because it also has to do with the CAS nominations. I'm so sorry, Standard. I was stuck on Wednesday, it turns out. This is their headline: No lean government as 50 to join cabinet. President has presented 50 names to Parliament for consideration of the position of Chief Administrative Secretary, whom, if approved, will push number of senior government officials to 125. They've done a comparison there, Uhuru versus the William Ruto cabinets, and I see Uhuru 20 CASs, Ruto 24, Uhuru 44 PSs, Ruto 51, CAS 29, Uhuru 50. Ruto, and let me see which other faces they have here that that the Daily Nation and Taifa Leo were not able to capture on their front page. I see Beatrice and Katha Nyaga, National Treasury, Daniel Kiongo, Agriculture. I don't think I mentioned him earlier. I did mention Mary Senator, Fred Outa, Mining, Joash Mangi, Foreign Affairs. Yep, the rest I think we looked at. But before I open the full list, Joseph.
Yes.
Maoni yako.
Thank you for having me on the show. And what I want to start with is that we should change the name of this country from Republic of Kenya to Republic of Politicians, because everything that is happening is evolving around politics and politicians. Loyalists tops Ruto's bloated CAS lineup. In fact, the heading itself is a mockery, because if you look here, I'm asking, were there no loyalists among the hustlers that could have found themselves in this list? Were there no loyalists among the people who supported William Ruto, the Mwambogas there, that could have topped this list? I think the people who feel betrayed are the people who voted William Ruto, the hustlers. The youths, if you look at William's campaign, he was appealing more to the youths. I'm asking, were there no youths who are loyalists to William Ruto, even to deserve to have maybe half or 10 of these CASs. Because what you see here are people who should be starting factories to employ the youths. Then these people will be going to the villages, because that will be their work, to tell the youths, you have to start businesses. A person who has served as a county head, like tonight here, for 10 years, he's just given a position in national administration. Are there no youths in UDA who can take such a position? Because most of these people have retired and are even tired. I think what you have to do as a country, Kenyans need to be angry enough on Monday and go and pass a message, not only to this government, but also to other governments that will come, that power belongs to the people. It is the other way around. Kenya, the politicians are now the masters. They usually tell us that they are civil servants. They are no longer civil servants. They are not serving anybody. They are serving their agenda. Because William Samoei Ruto, by giving these people, he's not looking at service delivery. He's looking at the next election. All these people who are appointed, there is no person here is a professional on their field. It is politicians who will be going to the grassroots machinery and trying to confuse Kenyans.
Wait, but I remember hosting the Kirinyaga woman rep, and she said she doesn't appreciate it when Kenyans view politicians as not being professionals. She says before they became politicians, they were professionals in different fields, accounting, law.
And we agree to that. We agree to that. But what we are asking is, even if you look at a person like Sosion, we expected maybe if it was on merit to be given a CAS in Ministry of Education.
Correct.
But he was given in tourism. Sosion now will be touring Masai Mara instead of bringing the reforms that we need in our education. That can tell you the radarest raft we have in this government. And if Kenyans are not careful, we are sinking all of us with this government. We only have one country called Kenya. And we cannot, it's either we take an action now or we take later when we are done.
All right. Not about Wilson Sossion. I mean, who says he can't make a good tourism? CAS, why is he boxed into education? But Dennis is doing this. I want you and Omulo to reply. I will come back to you. But I just want to look at some of the other sentiments that have been have reactions to that list. Pauline Joroge says 50 CASs in this economy. 50. Some ministries even have 3 CASs each. Who remembers munataka tutengeneze uchumi ama tuunde vyeo? And she was kind enough to go and find that clip. You can go listen to it on her Twitter. I can see here Tisa, and I talked about mambo kuchemka. Mambo yanachemka hapa studio. Tisa amesema the list of 50 administrative secretaries as nominated by William Ruto is out. Fellow citizens, for lack of a better word, Mr. President amechemsha. And we've talked about the size of that list, right? Sure. But they say other issues have come up, including what Dennis, no, who talked about the number of women? Was it you, Mulo? Was it you? It was you, Dennis, on the list. I don't know why this is not so clear, but let me just quickly look at some of what they've written. Once again, the president flouts the 2/3 gender principle by nominating 13 women and 37 men. Appointive positions do not face the same compliance hurdles as elective positions. This is an express failure to honor pledges made to the women of Kenya for a government of gender parity and an outright violation of the law. They say millions of Kenyans continue to be ravaged by the effects of the ongoing drought, which has so far claimed human lives and our livestock. Over 2 million eligible children are out of school, and millions of Kenyans still cannot access quality, affordable healthcare and social protection. As a country currently in an IMF fiscal consolidation program, which has had ramifications in the quality of lives for the majority of Kenyans, we expect that Parliament will come to the aid of Kenyans and effectively represent their aspirations, which are clearly different from the Kenya Kwanza government. I see the look you're giving me, Omulo ntakuja kwako. The National Treasury recently announced the country's fiscal deficit is expected to reach 720 billion for the 2023-24 financial year. An additional wage bill translates to a larger fiscal deficit, requiring a country already in debt crisis to borrow more. We have previously borrowed to pay salaries, which is illegal, irregular, and cannot be allowed to recur under this current regime. We note that the position of CAS is a duplication of roles with those of cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries. Instead, we call on Parliament to prioritize a sustainable wage bill in place of funding appointments driven by political expediency. And let's see what the second page says quickly before we take a break and come back with my panelists. And the second page reads, as such, we hold these nominations are an affront on the dignity of the people through tactical changes to the letter and spirit of the Constitution by the executive arm of government, and urge Kenyans of goodwill to raise their voices against this blatant impunity that we continue to witness among the political class, who seem more concerned about political expediency than lifting from poverty those struggling on the margins. All right, I will leave that there, take a break, come back with my panelists. Omulo Jr., Dennis Mbanda, first on the line.